Welcome along to the attheraces.com web preview of the Neptune Investment Management Novices Hurdle. On day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, Mick Fitzgerald, twice crowned leading rider at the meeting, joins us. And Mick, this a great race that throws up good horses. We've seen Harder Eustaces and the new one in recent years graduate from this and go on to even bigger and better things in seasons to come. Yeah, even the mighty Isterback won this before winning 3 champion hurdles. So it shows you the level of form that's required to be competitive in here. And, you know, we've got an interesting field of horses this year. We've got, you know, a very smart ex-flat horse in Nichols Canyon heading the market. You've got another one, you know, trained by John Ferguson in Parlour Games. And then you've got the national hunt types, the likes of Windsor Park, Outlander, you know. So it's very interesting contest. Let's start, Mick, with Nichols Canyon for Willie Mullins, a horse who was trained on the flat by John Gosden, came to Leopardstown over Christmas, and he beat one of his stablemates here in Vicio Veal, who was all the rage this day and was the shorter price on the day to beat Nichols Canyon. Yeah, and the worry is for me, Nichols Canyon, does he have to have soft ground? His jumping is suspect, and that's the concern I have with this horse. I don't think there's any doubting his ability. His flat form tells you that. I was walking at Newbury when he finished second to Cubanita in the John Porter. You know, that's the level of form that this horse is capable of. But I do think soft ground is a must for him, and that would be the worry I have. You know, I'm really keen on the second horse home here, Windsor Park. I like him. I think he's a horse who he's just been progressing as the season's gone on. And I think he represents a little bit of value in a race that should be more open than this. I think the betting should be, he's a short price, Nichols Canyon, 9-2. Yes, he's smart. Yes, he's done really well. But there's reasons to oppose him. And I think, you know, for that reason, I'd rather take a price about some of the others. He's solid without having the tag or the aura around him that is invincible, whereas some of the others keep on progressing, they're under the radar. Windsor Park being one of those. What about Outlander, who's also got form at Leopardstown, beating Martello Tower and also Kiltavick as well in the same race? Yeah, he was a second string on this occasion, but when you watch this horse win, he ain't a second string. And, you know, he looked really impressive here. And I just think that when you've got a horse of this quality, with a firm that has him, you've got to say, wow, because Nichols Canyon, yes, he sets a good standard, but this horse is owned by Gigginstown. There's no dodging the issue here. You know, they're not going to say, right, OK, you run in that race, we'll run in this race. There's none of it. They'll sit down with their jockey, Brian Cooper, and say, right, what's the best proposition for this horse? If they say, right, let's go for the Neptune, that's where he's going. And, you know, it's a theme that they've got. And I think Gigginstown have got a strong rating party this year. They haven't got that many favourites, but they've got an awful lot of horses who are on the fringe. We've seen it happen before. You know, these sort of horses come to the fore when the chips are down. And do you feel he's a horse peaking at the right time? Because he was beaten by Martello Tower and reversed that form next time up. Yeah, I do. He looked really good when he won at Naas. That's a stiff uphill finish, and he wasn't stopping. You know, and I think he's a very interesting contender. Let's have a look at a bit more Irish form, this time involving No More Heroes, another Gigginstown horse, and Shane's Hill as well. And we've got to remember, Mick, that some of these horses are doubly declared, and the likes of Shane's Hill could go for the Supreme still. But what did you make of No More Heroes? The worry is that disappointing run behind Outlander, where we saw him finishing behind his, you know, his almost stable mate. And here, it looked like Shane's Hill was going to win. And did Shane's Hill get outstayed by this horse? That's what it looked like. And, you know, hence the reason that Shane's Hill is shorter in the betting for the Supreme. But I just think that this horse, he looks like a real battle-hardened character. But the nagging doubt in my mind is that disappointing run last time. He had a very upwardly mobile profile before that disappointing run on his most recent start for Gordon Elliott. Well, more Irish form as well, this time with McKinley involved with Telus War, and there's another run at Naas, and another result that maybe weren't quite expecting on the day. Yeah, I think Willie Mullins said himself after this he was head-scratching because he didn't really know what to make of this, because they'd thought plenty of this fella, But when he ran at Leopardstown behind Sizing John, he was bitterly disappointing. So it was almost like a speculative run here. He kept at it really well, but there's just too many question marks about me. He was well beaten by Nichols Canyon next time.
In the Deloitte, yeah.
Yeah, so, his form doesn't stack up.
If he'd been a surprise package that day and backed it up again, you could say, OK,
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
an improver, but he's disappointed again.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where we are with McKinley. But one more to look at as well. This is a run at Fairyhouse back before Christmas. And a horse for Willie Mullins again in the Richie colours.
Yeah, Aberdevi. We don't know an awful lot about this horse. Very lightly raced, but just looking at him there, really grabs the ground. I think soft ground is a must for this horse. I wouldn't like to see this fella running on a quicker surface because it just looked like a cat on hot bricks. But, I think if there's plenty of cut in the ground, this horse is interesting. I think, jockey bookings, plans, I think will tell you an awful lot more.
And also the horse came across and won on soft ground at Warwick as well. So it is an open race compared to the Supreme. There are plenty of prices around. One just to touch on very quickly, we mentioned him at the start, is Parlour Games for John Ferguson. Yeah,
he's a horse who, he looked good when winning at Newbury, didn't he? But he's running an awful lot of races, and he's been running for literally the whole season, and I'm not convinced about it. And I think there's better prices to be had with some of the others in the race.
Come on then, Mick, give us the winner of this year's Neptune Investment Management Novices Hurdle.
I'm going for Windsor Park for a little bit of value.